Hi, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. Tonight we are working on the Koala Quilt. So I will be stitching the binding on this quilt today. We've started it and we're gonna get a little bit farther. So thanks for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. I'm here, I work on projects from beginning to end, and I'm here for about an hour. So tonight, you guys, we are continuing the Koala Quilt. So these are all koalas that you guys stitched up for our koala fundraiser. I'm still collecting money for that, so you can still get koalas, and the money will go to Australians for Animals. We made this quilt. My mom and I sewed all of your koalas together to make this quilt, and it is just almost done. We just have the binding to do, and it's just so fun, all these little koalas together. I love it. I think this is one of my most favorite quilts ever that I gotta work on, and I'm just super excited about it. So we're working on it tonight because it is Finish It Friday. So the first Friday of every month we stop our normal schedule and we work on something that we haven't worked on in a while, and this definitely fits the bill. It's been, I think it was right before coronavirus time that we were stitching this binding, so I think it's time to pick it up again. And it is also the first of the month, which means that the new embroidery of the month just came out. So this is the embroidery. It is Flower Garden. So that's the embroidery of the month. We sold out of all our bundles, and I had more bundles than usual in the shop this time, and we sold out of all those already, which is crazy. It's just day one, and they all sold out. I did put up a listing to pre-order one if you still want a bundle that comes with those cute Post-its and some supplies. So this will be the last time, like I'm not going to extend it anymore because I have to get the supplies and have the time for them to get here. So the pre-order ones should ship mid-May, I'm hoping. That's assuming, everyone else, all my vendors are shipping, timely enough to me, and then I will get it out to you right away. The other ones are done and will be shipping Monday. So if you ordered yours today, they should be headed out in Monday's mail. So thank you guys again. That's crazy. I'm so excited. And it'll be super fun. We'll stitch it all together the third week of the month, starting the 18th. That week we'll be stitching it here. All right, you guys, let's head to Koala Land. All right, gonna tilt you around. Oh, Kathy, so I did see that. I'm gonna put all your stuff in one package, but thank you so much for ordering for sure. All right, you guys, here it is. Let's try and spread it out. This is the Koala Quilt. It's got all of your lovely koalas. So again, this was from a few months ago, and we did a stitch along of the koala, and then all of you guys sent in your koalas, or at least one of your koalas, and we sewed them into the quilt. And then my mom and I, you stitched them, and then we took them and we sewed them into the quilt. And I had like a marathon quilting session. We did, the quilting has like bamboo leaves and little squiggle swirls. That was an education in doing machine quilting. The whole entire thing. Oh, how many blocks? It was over 100 koalas. Oh gosh, I don't remember offhand either, Catherine. I know it was over 100. It might have been like 106 or something. Oh, I'm gonna have to count it again when we're done. All right, so where we are tonight, they're all just so cute, and we'll see some pop by as we stitch. but we finished the bottom binding. This is all donated fabric as well, and the back is donated too. All the colors inside the quilt, we did kind of an improv piecing because none of the koalas weren't all the same size, which was awesome. I kind of loved that. But all these other pieces, all these little extra pieces, are all from somewhere else in the quilt. So, for example, you can see right here, you know, this fun, pretty background that was used, you know, right here. Is a little cut from there. So we were able to patchwork it all together to get just, oh gosh, I'm totally in love with this. Okay, so we did the whole bottom, and I think we just got to here. So that is where I'm gonna start tonight. Let's try and squish these down. I'm gonna leave that up so we can see some koalas along the way. I think they're all just so unique and adorable. Oh, I will definitely take a big picture when I'm done, for sure, Gretchen. We might have to get creative about that because I won't be able to go to my parents' house and take it a nice big one, like a nice flat one at their house because they have a big floor. We might have to go outside and hang it up somehow. All right, I'm just gonna grab a needle. I think I'm just going to do this little hand stitching needle. So this is that it's nice and thin, so it's going to be easy to go through all these layers. But look at the difference. So here's my normal embroidery needle that I use, and this is this little hand stitching one. So the eye is a totally different size, and it's just a skinnier needle. I think that'll work for let's put it somewhere I can see it. That'll work for the binding, I think. All right, and then I have a little bit of thread left on this guy. I'm sure this will last quite some time yet, so I'm gonna use some of this. I'm gonna just stick to like my 24 inches or so. Oh, a fence. We could probably find a decent fence. We don't have a great fence near, like attached to us, but we have a pretty cute. It's worn, but our garage is like a white garage that's kind of got like some old wood on it. That might be kind of cute if we can contrapt it up there somehow. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Oh my gosh, it is difficult to thread this itty bitty. All right, so I'm gonna just go around. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be dropping this needle all night. I'm gonna go around the end a little bit just to tie it in a knot. You know what? Do I have any? I don't have any beeswax near me. I think if I did, I would run this through some beeswax because I think this might get a little bit curly. We're towards the end of our thread, so it's wrapped around here pretty tight. I hope this doesn't cause us too much trouble tonight. Oh wow, you guys, it feels like it's been forever and ever since I've done any binding. So I'm kind of coming up in a spot that's going to be covered. All right, and then I'm going to cover that up. All right, let's just go around this starting point twice. Oh, so someone just asked about an extra koala. You know, I don't have a label for this yet. So I think the label for this is going to be a big deal. And it would be kind of awesome to have a koala on the back. So if anyone does have a spare koala that they're willing to part with, let me know. I will use it. If you want to send it to me, I will use it as the label. And then one of these days, and I'll get your guys' input. Oh, Shirley, you have one? Oh, that'd be awesome. And if I get more than one, you guys, I'll put a little like 4-patch or something on the back, or even make it like a mini quilt or something that we can give to the person who runs Australians for Animals. That'd be kind of cool. Yay, awesome, Shirley. Yep, so, but what I was saying is we have to figure out what to write on this label. So, any ideas for that? And you know what? Maybe I should get, if we do talk about that, I should get my little notepad out and a pencil, and then I can jot stuff down. Got my little pad here. But yeah, I think we'll definitely want the date and a little bit of the story behind it would be good. You guys, it is approaching 80 degrees here today. I think it's like, oh, hold on. Sheesh, late night phone calls. Don't know who that was. All right, but it was like high 70s today. I'm sweating here. I still have like a little sweater on from this morning. Oh, a little bag for the extra ones. Oh, we could make a bag for the quilt too. That'd be cool. So I kind of love hand binding, like what we're doing here. I mean, we could have just sewed, like with the machine, we could have sewn this binding on, but this is like my favorite part of quilting. So even though this is a huge quilt and a quilt we want to get done, I just love the hand quilting so much. So that's what I'm doing here. This is like one of those steps that's love or hate for people. Kind of like for me, like I can't. Cutting fabric, just I can't. I'm trying to fall in love with it, and it ain't happening. And I think binding, hand binding, like what I'm doing here, is I think a similar feeling for people. Ooh, it's cold there by you, Dee. Winter is coming. Oh gosh, we just finally cracked out of winter here. I mean, I think last week I might have worn my winter coat once or twice yet. Libby, you like binding? Shirley loves binding. Yeah, I don't know. This is my favorite part for sure. You can just chill, like your brain can just zonk out. Oh my gosh, but surely you love cutting too. Ugh. Cutting and pressing are, I don't know, have not fallen in love with those steps yet. Oh, you went to fly a kite today. How fun. Ooh, it was 40s this morning. I thought it was going to be a pretty chilly day. We went to the warehouse, the Penguin and Fish warehouse or office, same difference. And it was chilly. Like, I had my coat on. I even wore my scarf again today. And I'm just like, ugh, we're going back into winter again. But then I was listening to the radio, and they're like, it's 77 in Minneapolis today. And I'm like, what? Because it was not... God, I would have never guessed it was going to get like that based on the morning. But I suppose it's that time of year. Oh, you're going to plant some tomato and pepper plants tomorrow. Yeah, I suppose we should start addressing if we're going to do anything in the garden or not, I guess. Oh, you made a bag to put the baby quilt in for a niece. Oh, that's a sweet idea. I think that I should try and make that more of a habit, making like a nice little bag for the quilt after. Then they wouldn't be all over the place, I suppose. Joe cutting or pressing, screwing up. But love binding too. Willow loves binding. Oh, thanks, Barbara. Yeah, this quilting of this was super excited, or I was super excited about it. This was kind of, I've been trying to learn how to free motion quilt, right? So this was, I think, the first real big quilt that I've done a completely free motion quilting. That's where you just have a normal at-home sewing machine, or I'm doing the free motion quilting on an at-home sewing machine. I use my mom's sewing machine, but that's just when the needle goes up and down and you're moving the fabric to make the designs. So you got to have some rhythm going with it, and you got to kind of know where you're going before you go there. And that's the real challenge. And so this was kind of a test of where all our little practice bits have gone. And I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. I mean, working on it, I could definitely tell, like, oh, well, this is a skill I need to work on, these swirls, or this, something or another. But all in all, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And on the back, it's cute because I don't know if you can see really here, maybe more on this purple part. But anywhere there's a koala, I'm trying to get it in the light there. So it has like these leafy bits and a lot of just squiggles. But anytime there's a koala, on the koalas, I've just kind of outlined around. I didn't stitch through any of the embroidery, so I just kind of outlined around. And on the back, it just looks like little clouds. Anywhere there's a koala, it's just like a little cloud. I think it just is so cute. So that was a big win for me, and I lost my thread here. A big win for me was doing this quilting, and I did it as fast as I could, because I did it at my parents' house, and I think I did it in, I should have wrote all this down, but I think it was in like 8 hours or something. I did it all in one day, and I didn't really move from the chair from that whole day, except for a little break here and there. But all in all, I tried to go as fast as I could. Quick decisions and just doing it. Because I think we were leaving the next day or something to head home, and so that was my chance to quilt it, where I could use my mom's machine and a big table. Yeah, it was so fun to do with my mom. And just from beginning to end and making decisions together, and it was just a really fun process. I'd love to do that again. That was really, really fun. All right, I think I'm gonna do like 2 more stitches, and this thread is all used up already. So you can put like wonder clips, like you can pre-fold this and put wonder clips all the way down, but I don't know. It seems easy enough just to flip it over. Seems like an extra step to do all that. All right, so I lied. This is my last one. All right, so I'm gonna go around this last spot a couple times, or just one more time. Oh, we were not able to get the pizza yet. That is, Gretchen, that is tomorrow's objective. So tomorrow, I'm hoping we can nab some pizza. So we have not done like pickup for food, like our restaurants and stuff. We haven't done that yet. I mean, we've barely gone to the grocery store. We've just trying to not be by anyone, period. But we really want our pizza. And we want to, this is like the one place that we go all the time. And it would just be the worst if they closed or something. So we're like, okay, we're going to order some pizza from them. But their ordering system is so tight. Like, it's hard to get in the queue. You know what I mean? So we're going to wake up. We are going to call them up or go onto their website and get it for whatever time. So, we might order at 8 a.m. to get our pizza at 8 p.m., but we'll see. Hopefully we make it. Your binding stitches are great. What size binding are you using? Oh, well, thank you very much. I believe this is a 2.5-inch binding. I don't think we did smaller. I know we were pretty limited on this fabric, and I think we had like literally just enough for the binding. We measured it out beforehand. I think it's still a 2.5-inch binding. I don't think we reduced it to 2.25, and I don't think we reduced it to 2 either. I suppose we can kind of find out. So the binding, grab a ruler. So you cut long strips and then you fold them in half the long way. So this is about 1 let's call it 1/4. Oh, maybe it is this is 1 1/8 here. So maybe this was 2 1/4. I'm going to say 2 1/4 inch. So I think typically I do 2.5 inches, but maybe I don't. Maybe I do 2 1/4. Because I'm not binding quilts all like so often that I remember. But no, this looks like it's 2 1/4 inches. And that's either what I always do and can't remember, or I usually do 2.5, and we were pretty limited on this fabric. So and it's very thin. If I did a thicker batting in here, like this is a thin bamboo. Oh wait, no, is this the bamboo binding? Yes, so this is a thin bamboo binding. It's super nice and drapey. It's super thin though, so I don't need like that much thickness to wrap around. So the 2 1/4 is working well. If it was like a super fat batting, then maybe I'd do 2.5. Maybe I always do 2 1/4 binding. You like 2 1/4, and that's what you've been doing is 2 1/4. Yep. I like it. I always think of the binding as like one little extra border around the edge. So it's fun to use a contrasty color sometimes. It just kind of holds the whole quilt together. Arloa, you like 2.5? Yeah, for some reason 2.5 feels more familiar in my brain, but I don't know if that's just because I had to cut a bunch of 2.5-inch strips recently, so that's top of mind, but I don't know what that would have been for. Or, I don't know. Maybe I usually do 2.5, but I was doing this with my mom, and she usually does 2 1/4, and we went with that. That could be 2. You like 3 inches if you have the fabric. You like 2.5. I don't think I've gone larger than 2.5 before. Oh, Bonnie finished the mandala love embroidery. Yay, that's awesome. I think that was that February's? Yep, for sure it was February's because it said love on and it reminded me of Valentine's Day. I am not done with February's embroidery of the month yet. One of these Finish It Fridays we'll do that. And I would like to do some just Saturday marathon finishing project sessions again too. I'm going to wait till I'm getting a new computer system so I can go live better. So I can be live on YouTube and Facebook here again. So when that all comes through and I can make sure that everything's working, then we might take a few Saturdays and trying to get some of those other projects moving along a little bit. Oh, the 2.5 is easier if you're machine stitching the binding. Oh, that's interesting. So we won't, I missed got a little knot in there. So this Saturday I'm not going to be doing a stitch along just because I've been kind of swamped and I have to work. But One of these days we will, when I get all that computer stuff set up. I ordered the computer, but they have to put it together, and that's the deal. Is next week Granny Squares? It sure is. So the Granny Square quilt, we've divided up our months in projects, or we've divided up the weeks of each month by projects this year, and that's been going really well. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I really like spending a week on the project and then getting to switch over to another project, and then coming back to it the next month. I think that's just a nice little break from working on something. You know, sometimes I miss working on it. I'm like, oh, I just want to keep working on this project, but it is nice to just have that little break and work on something else. So that's the first full week of the month we do the Granny Square quilt. So we will be starting that again on Monday, and I'm loving that project. We're at the point now that we're actually making the Granny Squares, and they're just so cute. You like the weekly projects? Christy, you like it? Dee Dee, you like the variety? Oh, you like the schedule too. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I'm liking it too, because otherwise we're just working on one thing forever and ever and ever. And sometimes it's boring. Like, if I were to do this binding for like a whole week or like 2 weeks or however long it would take. Ugh, I would hope it wouldn't take 2 weeks, but you know, or like with the Granny Squares when we did all that cutting. I mean, that would have been a month of cutting probably. Oh, sure, Kathy. So here's how I'm doing the binding stitch. So I'm coming up through the back fabric and the binding. So I just have the little edge of the binding. So I'm going to go directly across from that, but only in the background. All right, so only in the background. And then I'm just kind of coming up at an angle and coming out in both the back and the binding again. And that's all there is to it. So it just makes just like a tiny little tick mark right there. All right, so to do it again, I'm just going directly across, but only in the background, and then through both the back and the binding. And so some people do this a little bit differently, but I still like this. There's the ladder stitch. You could do a ladder stitch for this, but I don't know. This still feels... By doing it this way, I get the feeling of like, oh, I'm just chilling and relaxing and working on the binding, and the other ways feel more like work to me, but I think that's just because I haven't done the different ways as much. Oh, yours always goes haywire. So one thing I am doing is I'm not using super long pieces of thread, because if I use long pieces of thread, then things start going in knots and everywhere. And I could, I should, if I had some like beeswax or something nearby, I might have run this through the beeswax just so it doesn't tangle, because it looks like it might get tangly. I'm trying to avoid that. All right, we're scooching along. I gotta rejigger this for a moment. They're all so cute. It is just really fun seeing all these again. Here, if I get back a little bit farther, then you can see more of them. While I stitch, we're sideways because we're working up the side of the quilt. Oh, you use Thread Heaven. So I don't think Thread Heaven exists anymore, does it? I think they closed that business. Yes, I count all of y'all as friends too, for sure. Ugh, this is relaxing. This is a nice way to end the week. For sure. I know, aren't they just sweet? Do you use beeswax on your binding threads? I think that's, I historically, Barbara, I don't use beeswax, right? I don't use any thread conditioner of any sort, but people ask about it. And so I've started to use the beeswax every once in a while when I remember it and when it's nearby. And I do find that, see how curly this is getting? I do find that rubbing it through the beeswax a few times does make it curl like this less, which makes it get tied in, get less knots. So when I remember, I have done that. But historically, I don't really do much with any thread conditioning. Oh, dang, Bonnie, that's a lot of stuff all in one week. That's pretty awesome. And I just like seeing a little bit of the quilting as I go. Ugh, makes me happy. Makes me want to quilt some more. Maybe during the second week of the month when we work on the Splendid Sampler, maybe we'll have to do some free motion quilting. So the Splendid Sampler project, that's week 2 of the month. We're doing quilt as you go, which means I'm actually quilting smaller squares of the quilt. I'm not quilting the whole quilt all at once like what I did here. I'm doing smaller squares and then stitching those squares together later. So it's kind of a goofy process. It's my first time doing a quilt as you go project, but that's a fun thing. Because you can just play around, like that's kind of my project to practice quilting with. That's what I'm excited about with that project is the quilt practice. And since I'm only doing like a square like this big, I can test an idea. Like I can be like, what if I did this all like stripes? And I can do that, and I can decide after if I like it or not. And if I don't like it, then I don't have to commit to the whole quilt of doing that. Each little bit can be different. So it allows me to just play with ideas. And what if we stitch it really densely? Or what if we don't stitch it densely? What does that look like? So it's been a fun experimenting. And for sure, the practice on that project has helped with this quilting, like 100% for sure. So now that I'm looking at this again, I really do want to get quilt. I want to sew something. I want to quilt something again. So I think if I remember, you guys can remind me, but that would be a fun thing to do, during the Splendid Sampler week. We've been working on all the little blocks and stuff, and I think we ended by finishing a block. So it'd be a good time. You could thread the needle while the tail end is still attached to the thread. Oh, that helps. Oh, going with the straight grain. So I don't quite understand all that yet. The grain of I get it. I just don't know how to know which direction the grain goes on thread. So I'm gonna have to dig into that some more. But I get the concept. Do you like the quilting rulers or just free motion? So that's what I've gotten to play around with too, is let's try quilting rulers versus just free motion. The quilting rulers are fun. I do think it's neat to get like perfect scalloped edges and all that. But I personally really like the free motion quilting better. The thing with the rulers is it's kind of similar to me as the cutting. I don't really like cutting so much, and there's just this fear of like the ruler sliding, and then my line's off. And I have that same kind of fear with the free motion quilting. So I have that little phobia with or not with the free motion quilting, with the ruler work of the free motion quilting. Although I think it's mostly lack of practice. So, and same thing with free motion quilting. I haven't had much practice, although now doing a quilt, I feel like that was a lot of practice. But yeah, I definitely want to do more ruler work and get better at it. Ugh, lost the needle again. Didn't lose the needle, lost the thread on the needle. Ugh, I'm gonna need to clip. Where'd my scissors go? Yoo-hoo, scissors. Oh, right next to me here. In a safe place. It's not hiding under the quilt. I need to thread the needle again, but it's so small and the end is a little frayed, so I'm just cutting a nice, neat edge again on the thread. When the thread comes off, the thread is the smooth side. It's like rubbing a feather duster against. So you thread it and then pull the length and then tie it, a cut, and then that's your knot. The part that came off of the spool, is that the correct way? Oh, you may finish your Liechtenstein embroidery this weekend. Nice! A bit of the hair left. That's gonna feel like a huge accomplishment, finishing that, I bet. Neat. Oh. I only have a couple stitches left on this anyway, before I need more thread. When my thread gets lower and lower, that's when I, like shorter and shorter, that's when I start to accidentally pull the needle off of the thread. All right, I'm gonna go around right now. So to end this, so I've come up through the binding, just like how I would normally do. So now I'm gonna go down into the back fabric, and I'm gonna come up in the same place. So I'm basically just going around that spot again. Oh, you put a quilt on your frame today. Start quilting it tomorrow. Okay, thread off the spool. All right, so then I'm going to just go in the same spot again and then just up a little bit, and then I'm going to just tie a knot right here. This is going to be underneath the binding, so it's going to be hidden, this little knot here. Got some fuzzles in the way here. We're going to try and tuck those fuzzles in too. Okay, next up. Oh, Gretchen, I am with you. Gretchen says, I feel bad for folks who don't have a craft to help them through. I totally agree. All right, now I lost my floss. Here we go. Jeez Louise, losing it all. Okay. We got a good ways to go yet, but we weren't very far on this yet. So we did about, gosh, almost probably 2.5 feet already tonight. That's pretty good. Or it's something, I guess. I don't know if it's good or not. It's something. It's farther. There we can see some more little koalas pop out here as we scooch down. So what you're saying to do the grain correctly is I thread it from this side. So I'm threading it, and then I unroll the rest and cut. Okay, that makes sense to me now. Now that I'm seeing it and saying it out loud. All right, so I'm going to thread it. And I wouldn't need to thread it quite yet, but just remembering what side I'm threading it from. Or what side I pulled it off the needle, or the spool from. Okay. Let's clip that. All right. Going to tie a knot again. Okay, so I think I did it right. Okay, Arloa, you approve, and Nolene, you think I got it right now? Yeah, it actually does feel kind of smooth. Yep, every stitch is closer to the finish. That makes every stitch a good stitch, right? All right, I'm just gonna come up in that hidden back area again. It's all gonna get all the part that's gonna get covered. Now let's tuck all those fuzzles underneath the binding. All right, and we can go again. I'm just gonna go around in that spot. Uh-oh. There we go. Go around in that spot one more time. Okay, and we are off again. So I think I'll probably stitch to the end of this thread tonight, and we'll call it a night then. So, man, I don't think we're going to get all the way to the end of, or even near to the end of this side, this edge, but we're definitely a few feet farther. I think this is some of the reasons that people don't like hand stitching is that it takes, I mean, seemingly ages, but I don't know. It's that final part. It's the first time you're really seeing a perfect, finished, beautiful edge, and it's the last part of the process, except for the label. I always forget about the label, and then I'm like, oh, I did the binding already. I was supposed to be done, and then forget about the label. But this time I have it in mind that we'll still be doing the label. Oh, it's a life-changing experience getting the grain off in the right direction. I'm going to definitely pay attention to that from now on, for sure. It does feel pretty smooth going through here. Ugh, this is relaxing. Okay, resituate. Oh, hand quilting is the only reason you quilt. Nice, Kathy. It's my favorite part too, for sure. All right, you gotta scooch up this way. Ugh, it just really is relaxing. So when we quilted this, we decided there's kind of like a border here. We just stitched in the ditch, which just means we stitched down the seam of the green border. So we have the green border, and then we have like our binding, which is kind of like an extra border. But we only stitched in the ditch because we thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have like no quilting here to kind of frame the quilting on the back. So hopefully that looks okay. We'll have to see what it looks like when we're completely done. Because I know we could have gone crazy and done a bunch of stuff in this border or something different than what was in the koala area, but we thought, let's just keep it simple. By we, I mean my mom and I. Exactly, Arloa. Oh, did you guys watch... It's been around Facebook the past few days, but Catherine, someone posted it in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, but it's that South by Southwest short film called Quilt Fever. It's about 15 minutes long. It is just so sweet, and I know all of you here would appreciate it. So I would give it a watch. It's called Quilt Fever. You can probably just Google Quilt Fever South by Southwest, which is just SXSW. Quilt Fever. Or just find that post in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. It is just sweet, made me smile. I laughed a couple times. It was just lovely. Oh, you try and put on the label beforehand. You know what? I should get in the habit of doing that. Because really, this is the part that I love as the final thing, this binding, and it does annoy me when I realize, oh, this isn't the final thing. Yep, that's the one about Patuka. The quilt show there. It's just short and sweet. You know, it's not even like, there's nothing like groundbreaking about it or anything. It just makes you smile. And it's just like a neat, it's fun thinking about it from someone who doesn't know that world at all. I mean, we all know, like, have experience crafting and all that. So it's just interesting that that's being brought to a bigger audience. But it's just sweet. Oh, you cried and laughed. It's so sweet. Shirley, yup. Oh, Catherine. So, okay, yeah, that's yep, Catherine put it in the group. But yeah, I laughed and cried, and then I watched, I was 1 minute into it, and then I'm like, John, you gotta watch this movie. And it's quilt fever, and it's all the quilt stuff, like going to trade shows and stuff. Kind of, it had that feel for us, these big group quilt show things. And so he was watching it on his computer, and I was on my computer just across the room, and I was about 1.5 minutes ahead of him the whole time, and we were both laughing, and it was just really sweet. But yeah, definitely recommend giving that a watch. Yeah, the quilts were all freaking crazy amazing for sure. But yeah, it's interesting how just a short little thing like that about quilting, it can just give you all of the feels all at once. All of the nice feels. It was sweet. I might have to watch it again tonight. It was cute. Oh, we are approaching a seam where we made the binding longer. Yay, I'm excited to do the Granny Squares quilt on Monday. That's gonna be fun, 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 fun. I love how that's coming out. Man, all of our quilts that we are working on are moving along quite a bit, I feel like. With the Aurifil block of the month that we were doing this week, geez, those blocks are so big that you get one done and it's like, dang, I have a whole next part of this quilt. Is our thread getting rings? I do not know what that means, Kathy. Oh, your goal one day to go to Paducah or to go to a quilt show? Yeah, it'd be fun to go to like a really, really big one like that. I'm almost done with this thread already. Wow, that went quick going through one. I thought we were going to go over a little bit tonight here because I took a pretty long piece of thread here, longer than I typically do, but we're almost through it. So we'll call it a night when I'm done with this thread, but I will I'll hold up the quilt so you can get a little taste of it from a little farther away. I think you can see it a little bit better then. Ah. Stabbed myself. Have to do that at least once doing this. Did you see the one where the lady was hiding from her husband of 31 years? Oh, because she didn't want to watch Planet of the Apes. I did not see that. Oh, Sisters Quilt Festival. Yeah, that would be fun. I have not been to a quilt festival. So when I was well, I haven't done this in a while, but when I was designing fabric and I guess mainly because of that, and then our embroidery kits to get them into like little boutiques, we went to the International Quilt Market, which is a trade show just for retailers. It's actually canceled this year, like most things. But that has a similar, I'm guessing a similar feel because there's quilts everywhere and you get to see all the fun stuff and a big group of people and it's just a mass of people like in the same genre of, interests. The niche of quilting. And so I'm guessing a festival would be kind of similar. There's Quilt Festival after the trade show, but I've never stayed long enough for that. Yeah, this is easier, Arlo. It is. It does feel smoother. You can actually feel like the subtlety of it being smoother versus like a subtle, almost like, I guess, scratching or friction when the other direction. Something I don't think you'd ever notice unless you were thinking of it, but I'm sure this protects the thread a whole lot more, because if you're going against the grain, then you're wearing away the thread a bit more, I would assume. All right, we're getting pretty short here. I'm going to do one last stitch, and we're going to call that the last stitch. Just going around that spot again. We'll see how far we got. I'm definitely approaching the other side here, the next corner, so I'm happy about that. I mean, by approaching, I'm still 3 feet away, but still. I'm not 6 feet away, which is where I started tonight. Oh gosh, I have just barely enough thread. I always seem to do that. Ooh, this nice skinny little needle though is just working great. I'm gonna actually put that needle away before I lose it because this could just evaporate a tiny needle like this. So let's get Zeb back. Let's get him back into Zeb. Say hi to Zeb. Okay. I am going to hold this up for you guys. So let's flip around here. All right. So I'm going to go like so. Okay. Hello. So we did from, I think we started about here and went to here. So that's quite a bit, I think, in one evening. Okay, so here, I'm going to stand up and show you guys where we're at. There, look at all these cuties. They're all so cute. Let's get up a little higher. I just love how it turned out. And one thing that I really, really like is that it's all different colors. They are all different sizes, all different styles of stitching. So it doesn't just look like a sterile quilt. Like we all did the same thing, but it's not sterile. It has energy. It has color. It's just really fun. I totally love it. We'll definitely take a big, decent photo when we're done. Yeah. But yeah, one of these Saturdays, once I get that computer, I could see just sitting and finishing the stitching on this. We could just do the binding all Saturday, one of these days. Just getting these projects done, getting them checked off. Awesome. So thank you guys for another great week here. I really appreciate you guys seeing you every single night here. The embroidery of the month, I have that pre-order up now. Embroidery of the month, again, is the flower garden. So the bundles sold out already. So I do have a pre-order for a few more bundles. Not a ton, but some more. So you can check that out. And even if you get the pre-order now, if you purchased a bundle or if you pre-order the bundle, you'll still get the PDF instantly in your email receipt. So you get the PDF by getting the bundle as well. So thanks, you guys. I'll get this up on YouTube. Have a great weekend. Good night. Oh, good luck with the pizza.